Hey, welcome along to another episode of Behind the Bar podcast, brought to you by the coaches and clients of RT Fitness Durham, Sunderland, and of course the Barbell Club and the Barbell Club Online, where we take you from complete beginner to photo shoot ready. So in today's episode, we have our coach Matty, and I absolutely love having conversations with Matty every time me and him get together, not just on the podcast, but just anywhere we're at. He just always asks us some deep questions, and I love just bouncing stuff off him. Even though there's double aging difference to us, I just absolutely love the crack from him. So I just ask him a few things on here. He's going to give you his biggest takeaways of the year and help towards the new year, and some tools what you can implement into it as well. So please subscribe, like, share the lot, you know the crack, and most of all, enjoy the show.
I've seen a tweet by James Clear that he retweeted. It was like Atomic Habits sales in January, a graph like that.
Is it?
Yeah. Like,
my favourite book. I haven't read it this year actually. Not yet.
always time.
There is always time, but I refuse to get it on Audible because I've bought that many.
I've got it in the house.
What? Is it mine?
No, I bought my own.
Someone's got mine. Somebody does have mine. Right, then let's do it. New year, Matthew. Biggest takeaway from 2024?
Yeah, like I was just saying to you before, it's going to be quite person dependent for everyone, but for me, a big thing that stuck with us, maybe it's because it was something I learned later in the year, is like belief is overrated. Generate evidence. So you can achieve whatever you want to achieve, input your goal, whatever you want to achieve in 2025. Even if you don't believe you can do it, but you do everything required to achieve it, you will achieve it. That's something that really stuck with me for 2024.
Okay, but even without hitting it?
What do you mean?
Like, it's where you're sitting, like putting in the goal for the end of the year or something like that, as long as you're...
I think I know what you mean. So, like, if there was a person that wasn't you, what would they have to do to achieve the goal that you want?
Right, okay.
So let's say, it's fat loss. What would they have to do every day, every week, every month to achieve, whatever the result is?
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that. Like, even if that person didn't believe that entire time, but they showed up regardless, then they would achieve the result. And I think that's actually what really matters. Because you know yourself about, I love to analyse things and it goes into overthinking. Yeah. And what actually really matters is turning up and still doing things, taking that imperfect action, as we would say. And I think that's actually what really matters. And, whatever your excuse is, and, this might sound brutal or whatever it is, but like whatever your excuse is, okay, it's true. What now?
The yes or no question.
What's the question, yes or no question?
Let's say, have you done your best today? And it's just a simple yes or no.
I like that we were talking about excuses, and look, like some excuses, they're correct. You've got a good reason for why you can't achieve whatever it is, but are you going to let that be the thing that stops you from achieving your goal? Because most people, that will be the case. And look, if it's something really serious, then, I feel for you. Like, yeah, okay, if that's the thing that stops you from achieving your goal, then that's what it is. You've just got to be honest, and I think honesty is really key, because people do lie.
Then that comes down to a yes or no, doesn't it?
Yeah. Regardless of whatever reason it was, it's still the truth that you could have done something about it. Like, what would it take? Asking yourself that question as well. What would it actually take? Yeah. That's something like, when you write that down and you really look at that for like a good amount of time, like what would it actually take? You realise it's just like the simple stuff that you make excuses for.
Because where you can go, so say that person does do that full year, we can break it down actually, because it's like, let's say for example, right, okay, this year I'm going to lose 100 pounds. That's a mountain. It is a mountain, but it is achievable. If you've got the weight to lose, if you're 120 pounds, then I wouldn't recommend it. But that full year, then we break it down. And this is what we've actually done in-house as well. So we break it down, and you say, as long as you're doing the daily actions. What does it say on our new mugs? The daily actions.
The track, steps,
train, steps.
Yeah. No, that's good. And we can get into like the weeds of like how you actually achieve a goal. People have different takes. Should you actually set goals? Like, is it about process goals, stuff like that? I think all of them are important, and we can get into that in this podcast, to be fair. But like, I think the first barrier you've really got to get through is realize, like, you're the only person who can actually do something about it. And like, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter if you can't be arsed one day. All that matters is actually what you do.
Yeah.
At the end of that day, again, yes or no question, did you actually do everything required? Because if you didn't, even if, Steve round the corner crashed into your car and you couldn't make it in and whatever it was, like, yeah, okay, it's true. Now what?
Yeah.
Because now Steve's responsible for you not achieving your goals. He's going to be in your dreams and it's going to be his face. Do you know what I mean? And, people think it's silly and stuff like that, but like, it's really powerful, I think. Someone asked us before on Carnage, like, how are you so motivated, or how do I get motivated? It's a really tricky question, but it's a question that is needed to be addressed, and everyone's going to be different. I think you've really got to sit there and think about why do you actually want to achieve the thing you want to achieve? Really dig into it. Is it to impress other people? Because I don't think that's a good enough reason. Yeah, okay, that could be some degree of why you want to achieve success. Everyone's got a little bit of that, whether they admit it or not. But if that's your sole reason why you want to achieve something, when you do achieve it, I would argue that you won't actually feel good about it.
You won't probably feel anything. I know. You know that I've got some big goals, and I've said to you before in the past of like, even when I hit them, I'm not going to be like, whoa, I've done it. It's like, all right, it's a bit of self-satisfaction of like, well, I said I would do it, I've done it. What's the next thing?
Yeah, here's a little ism for you.
Ism.
Position doesn't matter. It's more about trajectory.
Right.
Are you actually progressing, like daily, weekly, monthly? Because if you see maybe this is more of like a business thing than anything, but if you see like a really big rise in like revenue, and then it goes down a little bit, you'd feel like shit. Whereas if you didn't achieve as much revenue, but you went up all year, till December, you'd feel better because you're progressing. So it doesn't actually, like James Smith says, all wins feel the same. So like, if you made £1 million, it'd be great, but if you made 10 million, you would feel the same as what you made.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so.
100%.
I don't know if you want to like bounce into that, but.
I suppose, yeah, but I don't know. For me, I know that's going to happen. Like, I know, like, for some of the goals that I've set out, they're just going to feel the same throughout. But where I have switched my mind into more of a, like the 40 transformation one, like the impact goal, like I am getting more of a buzz out of that though, because each and every time I hit them, it obviously when we hit the 40 in the last quarter, meant I was buzzing with that. And it's like, when I know when I'm hit this, I'm going to be buzzing again. And I think if I, like that kind of goal for me has sort of switched my mindset of just, like say a monetary goal of where it is like I hit a certain peak and then but every little peak I've hit, it does just feel the same.
And that's like, I think that's a serious question you've got to ask yourself, like, journal, whatever you want to do in terms of this year. Okay, when you've actually laid out your goals for the year, what you want to achieve, why? Because if it's not a good enough reason, like Tony Robbins always talks about a pleasure in pain principle. This always stuck with me. I'll dive into this one, it's a good one. So let's say your why for what you want to do, it's got to have both sides. So it's like the pleasure of the life you want to live when you achieve the goal needs to be so strong that you make a daily decision, which leads to an action, which leads to the actual creation of a goal. That's how you actually achieve something, by making decisions, making actions. That's how you make it into the world, make it physical. So the pleasure's got to be good enough to change from the situation you are now. If you're comfortable now.
What's the actual line though? What's the line? It has to, like, the pain has to be. It is a Tony Robbins line. It's the pain to make the change.
Possibly.
Line.
That's obviously the pain side.
Yeah.
I think the pain's probably more powerful than the pleasure, if I'm honest, in my own experience. But still having like a understanding of what does the pleasure actually look like, in terms of if you're comfortable right now, that's normally why you might not achieve what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. Like, you know, some people would argue they don't need money to be happy and stuff like that. It's fantastic. But also, what's the pain of staying the same? Like, that pain needs to be super strong for you to actually do the daily actions, daily decisions. So it's the pleasure and pain principle. So like, that's a really good way of like writing it down in terms of, okay, this is my reason why I want to achieve it. What's the pleasure in achieving it? What's the pain in not? Like, using that from a perspective of every day, how do we do the daily decisions, daily actions that are going to get us there? Yeah, you've got to know what to do. Like, as in track, if it's weight loss, track, steps, train. But that's the things that you need to think about when you're sitting there going, I can't be asked to go to the gym today. Right, dive into that, right? What's the pain of staying the same? What's the pleasure in achieving what I want to achieve? That's, if someone asks me, how do I get motivated? That's what I would say.
Or the motivation one is, because I wrote a post years ago. It was like, I'm not motivated, or like my motivation isn't high or something like that. It's just that I've created these small habits along the way, what looks like motivation to other people.
Yeah, but I get that, and I think that ties into like process goals. In terms of, I think they're all steps in terms of, if someone's saying, right, how do I achieve my goals this year? I think a good idea to have goals wrote down. What does the end of the year look like?
Who is the person I want to be?
Yes, because we all know, yes, if you wanted to achieve a goal, what matters more is identity.
Yeah.
So I am the type of person who eats this food. I'm the type of person who, you know, read Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
We talk about this.
I am the person who I am that fit person who does 10,000 steps a day.
Yes,
yeah.
and we all know, like, make it easier by putting your clothes out in the morning to make sure.
We
all know these little, like, nuances. And if you don't, read Atomic Habits, listen to it. It's fantastic. You know, the sales we were talking about for January go.
I might leave that bit in at the start.
Yeah, let's put like a reference code in the link in the description. But yeah, so read Atomic Habits, great book. But that always talks about the systems behind it. I think it's a really good idea having the outcome goal of the year, and then we break it down into the process goals for the year, which is, you know, what are the actions we do? Again, what's on the cup, like the track,
the daily
steps,
action,
etc. Input your goal, and then understand what are the actual things I need to do, and then how do we actually do the things comes down to the pleasure and pain principle. And I think that's the system, that for me. I think that's exactly how you achieve goals.
So it's getting down to those daily actions, but then on those daily actions, if you haven't hit them, then it's the question of, am I going to feel better about myself? Am I going to feel worse type thing? Like the pleasure pain of that, where what's going to be the pain if I don't hit this? What's going to be the pleasure?
That was a really powerful one for me because it makes sense.
Yeah. So basically reverse engineer your goals, break it down into a daily goal, and then ask the question of like, if you're going to hit them or if you're not. I'm going to hit these today because I'm going to have this outcome. I'm not going to hit these today because of pain.
Yeah, that's a big one for me.
I think we've solved everyone's problems in one.
It seems pretty rational.
But you can, and I think people, I should create some worksheets for that actually, probably like for the clients, and like, because it is, if you've got that in front of you, and that's obviously one of the reasons why it's there on your fucking coffee cup at the start of the day, so that you can look at it, it's like, well, these are the actions I've got to take today. But yeah, I like that.
But I think this is why goals get like a bad rap, because people think it's like singing to the birds about like, oh yeah, like I want to be, you know, whatever it is, like input your goal. Yeah, like if you just did that, you would be the same. Like, but I think it's powerful because if you just have process goals, there's no reason for why you would do it because you don't see the vision. Like, I feel like you've got to have something there to achieve. Like, you've got to have like something to look up to and to want to get to. Again, even if it is to be that type of person who achieves that.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's all good saying do these processes, but if you've got no strong reason why to do them, you're not going to do them.
So what's the strong reasons to do them?
And that's where you need to reflect on it, in my opinion. Everyone's going to be different.
What's one of yours?
Ooh. Shall we pull them up?
With the, go for it. Yeah, with the strong reason as well. Like, give an example.
Pleasure and pain. So maybe like the pleasure in achieving my dream physique, for example. The pleasure in that is not, I wouldn't put that as person across the road is impressed. I would say feels more fulfilled in my physique and in my body. I think that's a fantastic pleasure for me. Again, this is where it's like quite nuanced. Like some people would hear that and say, that doesn't faze me. So everyone's got to be a bit different. And a pain could be something like, picture 85-year-old you looking back on your life.
I'm close.
You are. 85-year-old you looking back on your life. It's, what would they want you to do now? What advice would they give you now? It probably wouldn't be to fucking sit around eating biscuits all day. And that's something that I did on my annual review this year from Chris. In terms of what would 85-year-old you tell you to do?
Yeah.
That kind of reflection, it's fucking powerful. I would advise anyone to really think about that, like, because it puts you into this position where you're basically about to die, you're on your deathbed, and you really try and like picture yourself in that position, and nothing else matters. You realise what actually does matter.
Yeah.
And it's powerful.
If it's on the fitness side of things, where you said obviously the dream physique, it's a small investment. It's a daily small investment. It does take time, but you'd rather be not on your deathbed at 85. You'd rather be still alive then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's another good one.
And that's the thing, because like all these small investments, because I'll tell you what the fucking dentist said it to me, right? About do you know the jet washer thing, right? So I said to her the last time I was there, I was like, I'm using it regularly. I will use it every single day. And then I went back, and I'm honest with the fucking dentist, I'm not going to lie to her. And I was it's like 1 or 2 days, and she's well, think of this as an investment into your teeth, like these daily habits. And I was you're talking to me about daily habits. Honestly, like I talk about this all day, and I'm not doing the work myself. Yeah. So it was one of them moments of like, I'm fucking not doing what I'm saying I'm doing here. And it was a bit of a kick in the teeth.
Yeah. Like they always say, like you have to learn the same lesson twice. And normally it's things that apply in one field applies in others.
In all fields, it does. It does in all fields. But that one with the 85 on the deathbed, and it is that physique. You are going to have to put those daily steps in, because at the end of the day, when you do come to 85, 90, whatever, you want to be as fit and as healthy as possible. Yeah,
probably plays it more of like the longevity thing.
Yeah.
Like if we said in the motivation podcast where we talk about like if you've got kids, use them to your advantage.
Yeah.
In terms of like be a good role model for them. That should be one of the pains in your thing. I will be a terrible role model for my kids. That might sound extreme, but like if that would get me going if I had kids, like it would. And it's like, and it's kind of true, to be honest.
I use it. I use the kids as a thing, because like even at this moment in time, obviously Jake's 15, Dexter's 12, and it's like I take pride in that I'm faster than them. Do you know what I mean? Like I rip the piss out of them, like saying like obviously I'm like I can beat us in anything, but I take pride in that. I want them to beat us. Do you know what I mean? But for me, like I always want to show them that, and like obviously with the training, like I'm always teaching them about nutrition in the house, and it might just bounce off the heads because they hear it every single day from me. But as long as I know that I am doing that, and like I actually said in my yearly plan is I actually want my kids to say that they're proud of us. That's it. Like one of my yearly goals, not for me to say, are you proud of us? Like not for me to question it. I want them to actually verbally say it, like off their own back. So say, I'm going to be trying to do everything I possibly can this year for that to be said.
And I bet that gets you going.
Oh yeah, well aye.
So that's what you've got to use. Like, that's the question of how do I get motivated? It's person dependent, but you've got to pull on things that are important in your life.
Yeah. And kids should be.
100%.
As much as like, I'm never going to say I'm the dad of the year or anything like that, but it's like, there's still an importance of like wanting to like prove to them some things, do you know what I mean? Especially with them, it's like, even though I want them to do like better than what I ever can do, I still need to like fight for their love. Even though I make them fight for my love.
We always dive into motivation on these podcasts, don't we? I'm freezing, by the way. Can I quickly
get your jacket on. We'll just wait for a minute.
I'm still connected to the mic. So.
I know. Well, so that's the early stuff. We'll do these ones because I think these will be nice and short and powerful.
Yeah,
so
that was pretty deep, that, like.
No, it wasn't. I know you could go deeper.
Yeah, I know, but I just don't want to frighten people.
No, I know. I think people like it. Because I've always said about the podcasts with you, it's like, say for our clients themselves, they only get to spend a few minutes here, and then when they listen to you, Ben, whoever else on the podcast, it's like, Jesus, like they actually know what they're talking about.
I'd hope so.
But they do. So these ones, I thought, like, because I know Matty obviously is deep into the mindset of things. So these are the bland not the bland. Probably some of the more popular, like say, fitness quotes of what make you think. And I actually took this quote the other day. We can't ever teach people anything these days. We can only make them think. So these ones here, that's not the first quote. This is the first quote. So the body achieves what the mind believes.
Yeah, so I said...
Oh, you did, didn't you?
Yeah, I disagree slightly now. I think last year I might have said yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think belief's cool. Like, it's good to have. I've got to be honest. It's going to be on your side sometimes, but there's also going to be times where you don't believe. I've got to be honest. Like, everyone, all the way up to the top, is filled with lack of belief, self-criticism. It's not going to work. Everyone's filled with that. And what separates people from who succeed and who don't are people who just turn the fuck up anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, it's not sexy. There's not going to be a life where you wake up and you feel fantastic all the time. It's never going to happen. It's something, again, that I realised in last year, 2024. Something really powerful. It's belief is overrated. Just generate evidence on a daily basis, and that's how you fucking win.
Simple. Take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live.
Yeah, I like that one. Take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live.
It's one of the same quotes as who's Warren Buffett. If you only had one car for the rest of your life,
how would you treat it?
How would you treat it? It's pretty much the same, isn't it? Yeah, that's simple, really.
Yeah, I like that one. Again, dives into longevity in terms of decisions you make. You could add that into your own framework that hopefully you're going to write after this, like your pleasure and framework. Again, how do we actually want to treat our body? How do we want to set examples for how you should treat your body? Yeah. Again, look, people might have different opinions on things, and I'm not going to argue with you if you think your idea of balance is to, get a takeaway every week and stuff like that. I'm not against that. If that's what you want to do, then yeah, go for it. Like, I'm never going to judge someone who wants to do that, but it's whatever your expectations are is what you've got to be willing to uphold to.
I mean, I think every single coach in the land can agree, just move more and eat healthier.
Yeah. And again, what does eating healthier look like? Some people would argue it's cutting out X food. We all think, no, don't do that. Like, have some sort of balance in your life. Although, maybe I need to take my own advice in terms of balance. Sometimes I am struggling to kind of have a bit of balance. But you would argue there's no balance at the start.
But your balance is different to other people's.
Yeah, and again, that's something that is good as well.
It's just because the thing is, when people think of balance, it's like, let's say drinking for one, it's like sometimes people think, well, I have balance. It's like, well, we'll get wrecked or whatever sometimes, and it's like, that's not my balance. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it was years and years ago, but it's just because your idea of fun doesn't mean that that's everybody's idea of fun in the balance terms. And I think nowadays people are more accepting of it anyway, but yeah, I think that.
Yeah, sobriety's turning cool,
yeah.
I think. And when people ask me about it, I always say, look, if you want to drink, I'm never going to judge someone who wants to drink if that's what you want to do. But if someone asked me and someone wanted me to convince them to stop, I could. Yeah. But I generally don't, because it's a tricky one. Like, there's a lot of things that go into it, and I never want to be the guy who says, like, oh, why are you drinking and stuff like that. It's
300 days sober. Yeah, like 9 years sober.
Do what you want. It's something that's never really been in my belief system because of maybe when I was younger, trying to be a footballer, so I didn't go out and drink. I understand that's probably a privilege to have, but yeah, we could get into alcohol.
Yeah, we'll start with it, yeah. That's a full one in itself, isn't it? Don't limit your challenges, challenge your limits.
Yeah.
Don't limit your challenges, challenge your limits.
Someone just like you has achieved the goal that you want. So why not you? I think that's a nice little ism to bounce off that, because at Chris Williamson's live tour, he said something really, really interesting, which is why I came away from it like really feeling positive, like I was talking to you about, in terms of, you look at like famous people, for example, almost like not human until you see them in real life. You're like, they exist. It's a weird sense of feeling, but
yeah.
He talked about when he interviewed someone and they walked into his house and said, have you got any food or anything like that? I'm starving. They opened his fridge. There was a cornetto yogurt with like the little cocoa pops in them. Thing it in.
Crunch corner.
Took the lid off, crunch corner. Took the lid off, looked at the lid for a minute, and then licked the lid. And he said for him, that yogurt lid moment was like, he is just like me.
Yeah.
But he's just got very good at one thing. So like that was something that really opened myself up. It's like, all these people are just like me.
Yeah.
And it's scary when you think, again, back to the excuses thing, that's the thing that you're stopping you from actually achieving what you want. It's hard, man. Like, I think your mindset is the biggest thing that stops people from getting results.
I thought of one with that one. Don't limit your challenges, challenge your limits. This is basically a Grant Cardone 10x guy. He's like, 10x. It's like, so you don't limit your challenges, so it's like challenge your limits. So basically, say if you want to make $1 million, he would say, why not 10?
You could see how that could be silly though, like why not 10 trillion? Like, you could see how it gets silly, but I like that, and I think it does tie into like, someone else has done it, so why not you? I like that.
Oh, I love that one, 100%. Because if someone's walked our path, it's like, well, why not you? We all have it in us. Yeah, we all have it in us, but I suppose then I sort of, when I was talking to you about like articulating, like the way obviously some people can articulate, I know that I can never be that, even though I try.
I'm going to counter that.
Fuck off.
You could.
I could.
But it's just not a priority for you.
Yeah, it's not. Bastard. Piss off. Right.
Spin the hypnotising clock.
Your health is an investment, not an expense.
Yeah. Because, again, you only have one body. You only have one mind. Whatever perspective you want to put it in, it is an investment at the end of the day. Like,
in today's modern world, you've got to.
100%. I'm always willing to invest into things that are going to improve us. Always.
Yeah.
In any facet. Like, I don't think there'll ever be a stage where I stop investing in things that are going to help me improve. Whether it is my body, whether it is my mindset, whatever it is, whether it's a book, a course, coaching. All the coaches in here, the best coaches, all get coached off someone in one phase of their life. There's a reason why, because people are trying to expand the mind constantly. You've got to. It's an investment.
I know not a day goes by that me and you won't be watching a YouTube video on learning or something like that. What is it, when you stop growing, you start dying? Is that right?
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's now a Ross Thompson code.
Yeah. So your health is an investment, not an expense. The only expense, what it is, I mean, yes, there might actually be a monetary thing in there, but it's just time. But then without time, like if you're not putting that time in, then your health's going to decrease and you're not going to have time in anywhere. Is it?
Well, yeah, that's a great perspective.
So the only investment is time, but then you're going to get time back, or at least quality time back.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? Like, yeah, you might live at the same. Let's even say you die.
You might die at the same age, yeah,
the
exactly.
Quality of life will be better.
Yeah.
If that's what gets you going, if longevity gets you going, then that's a nice little perspective change to take. Yeah, I like that one. And like, before you continue as well, like, people always think of like quotes and stuff, it's like, oh, like little isms and stuff like that, it's like, oh, they're pointless, but it gets me going, because it's like, I love little things like that can change your perspective, because again, back to the process goals and the things that make you do things in the moment. When I read a quote or something like that, I'll be more likely that day to take action on that type of like thing, and that might sound...
Well, it's a motivational quote, and it does motivate you, and it makes you think, and some of those tiny little quotes, some of these little quotes now might completely change the trajectory of like where you're headed. And because I read a full book and I fucking take one bastard thing away from it. It takes us a few weeks to finish one book, but I'll take one thing away and that lasts us for the rest. Do you know what I mean? That's an investment of time. But that one nugget ends up helping, say, 300 clients on their journey, and then that spider web effect. What's the next one? The pain you feel today will be the strength you feel tomorrow. Bit of a cheesy one, but...
the better one for me that relates to that is, do today what you tomorrow would want you today to do. I'll say it again.
Yes.
Do today what you tomorrow would want you today to do.
Yeah, that one there, it's a similar, like, what would... So if you were thinking of yourself at the end of the year, what would you tell yourself to do?
Yeah, I think it was actually Matt Fraser, like the world's fittest man in CrossFit, who said that quote. I could be like totally giving him credit for a quote that I didn't create.
Just give him it.
Yeah. Matt Fraser drift. But yeah, like, I think that's a really good one. I know that's Chris Williamson's favourite quote.
Is it?
Yeah,
right.
He really loves that one. And it's a good one, because it's, again, it gives you that perspective on the things you actually need to do today. It's normally the things like, if you look the next day ahead and you look back, you're like, I probably should have did this and probably should have done that. And if you're in that frame of mind now, then you might be more likely to actually do the actions today. Whether or not that gets some people going, I don't know, but it definitely is something that...
That's the Monday, Friday one, isn't it, as well? What would Monday person want you to tell Friday person?
Yeah. I thought you were going to say like a Tim Ferriss-ism, which was like, I've got it in me quotes, it's like, treat today like a Tuesday.
Like a Tuesday.
Crush it on a Tuesday, not aiming for this perfect day. And it's kind of like, ties into New Year's actually, in terms of like, New Year's Day, like, let's get going. Like, treat the New Year's Day as just a typical Tuesday.
Yeah.
And that's how you need to be every day, because otherwise it'll get to the weekend, you won't track. It'll get to like Thursday and like you'll just fuck it off, because it's like this new week mindset that people fall into a little bit. You've got to treat every day like it's just a typical Tuesday, and that's, if you crush a Tuesday, then that's how you win. Because, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that quote, what I said, or wherever I brought it up from, is relevant back to probably drinking. It's like how, like, what would, because people generally feel shit on a Monday, they feel tired on a Monday. So what would you tell yourself on that Friday to do? And it'd be like, well, don't drink, just go to bed at the same time, fucking have something fun to do over the weekend instead of nursing a hangover, blah, blah, blah. But that Friday's person is a different person to Monday, because they've had that bad week at work or whatever else, or...
But that relates so nicely to like 2 points straight away, which is going to sound like I'm repeating myself, but like, one, okay, you had a bad week and now you're drinking. That could be true, that you've had a bad week, but the fact that you've drank is your decision at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you've got to take responsibility for the fact that, yeah, okay, you've had a bad week, that's true, now what? You could drink, or you could say, all right, how do we actually do today what you tomorrow want you today to do?
Yeah.
Probably not drink. And then also, the fact that you don't want to stop doing that shows the pain and the pleasure is not good enough, which means you've either not wrote them down, which I'm assuming most people haven't done, or they're not strong enough. Like, your pain of change is the biggest determining factor on what changes people. Someone has a heart attack, they change their diet, they'll like, I know me dad's mate, he was on death's door pretty much because he was just so unhealthy. The guy's like fit as a lot now. It's them moments, someone dies in your life, it makes you change. Them are the moments that are most powerful, because it gives people that, it clears that pleasure and pain principle.
It's such a shame though that it does always come down to like a massive health scare or somebody dying or something like that.
You see it all the time though.
Yeah.
And that's all it is, by the way. It is literally giving you a bigger pleasure and pain. The fact that, oh my God, I might fucking die next year is a real strong pain in people's life that makes them change.
Yeah.
And that's why I love that from Tony Robbins. It's so simple and so effective, because if that reason's good enough, you're going to make them daily decisions, you're going to make them daily actions, and what's the outcome of that is actually achieving what you want to achieve. Yeah, there's some nuances in there, like how do we actually what's the perfect programming and stuff like that. I know it's more complicated than that, but if you start there, you're going to fucking make a really good chunk of progress.
Yeah. That's why I like the yes or no question, because it's like fucking... Yeah. You can only answer yes or no. Not like, well, no, but, or yes, but.
And that's what I mean. Like, we all know there's a lot in the weeds of that, and we all know that. Like, what's like the new system? Like, if you've got a business or something, like, it's more complicated than just show up. I understand that, but if you don't show up, then you can't get into the nuances and the weeds and stuff like that. So that's mad.
We'll do one more before Joe walks through the door. Oh, fucking hell. I think this is what we've just said. Actually, we'll do this one. What seems impossible today will one day become your warm-up.
It's that yogurt lid moment, isn't it? Like,
realise
like, I think getting to Chris Williamson's level, or I keep using Chris, but I'm trying to make someone maybe more relatable. Like, pick your person who you think is, your role model or something else. Getting to their level seems impossible. But you've just got to realise they're actually just like you, but they've just got really good at one thing and they've just went absolutely all in on it. He says turn pro in terms of like everything you do on a daily basis. We've read that book as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
The Turn Pro book, which ties in everything we've been saying about how you show up every day. Are you showing up like an amateur, or are you showing up like how a professional athlete would, for example? Everything he does is on the ball, everything she does is on the ball. So yeah, again, there's a lot of nuance in that.
I mean, that could be as simple as like, so say you get a person walking into the gym, like let's say a female walking into the gym, she sees another female lifting XYZ on the board and stuff like that, and like you're looking at it like as a newbie, say, and they like looking at, Jesus, how like are you doing that? 6 months down the line, that is your warm-up.
100%, that's a really good example.
Yeah, it is, and it's so achievable, but it just takes time, and you've just got to start. Oh, no.
But it's simple.
Yeah.
In terms of, it's just showing up, and it's just doing all them things we've said, which is, again, it's not easy, but it's simple in the way it's laid out. Which where I was talking to you before this about like where I've been putting off this back end stuff, and then it's like, oh well, I'll just do it. But I know once it's all done, I'll be an absolute master at it, and it'll be like done. Yes, that was meant. Thank you very much.